Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here. I'm calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Please stick around today. I'm going to go through so many things. I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. This will probably be one of the most important things you ever hear in your life, and I promise you that. You're going to hear people talk about this, talk about that, even say what Jesus came here to do and teach. But I'm going to take it to the biggest step ever. So sit down, get something to drink or whatever you need, and try to relax and just listen. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. All right, so here we go. It's pouring out here. I don't know how the noise is going to be, but we shall see. I want to start off with, this is going to be about love, L-O-V-E. Now, you might think you know what it is. People think they know what it is. But I'm going to tell you straight out before we get any further. Very few people understand love at any level. We will be going through different stages of love from the time it starts in a soul awareness in this world to the time it leaves. All right. It's not that it's different. It's not going to be, there'll be parts that you might agree with, disagree with. But I'm telling you, if you piece this all together, you will truly understand what I'm saying. Hopefully. All right, this is going to be on a recording, so please send it to everybody you know, going through a hard time, good time, happy time, whatever they believe that is going on in their life. So we're going to start at the beginning when love starts in a soul. All right, the first connection for a soul, when it comes into this world, is born in a child, male or female, doesn't matter. Right before birth of the body, soul steps into it. It can go in slightly before, but it usually doesn't, because two souls really don't occupy the same space ever. When a demon, an entity comes in your body, you're kind of standing on the outside of it. But I don't want to go into that. So this is when you're being born. So soul's coming into the body, steps in the body. Karma is all balanced for it to step into that body. So when this little soul, because it's in a little body, experiences its first connection, it's connecting to its mother. So the feelings, the vibrations, the energy is all coming from its mother. When it's born, most children do not see when they're born, or can't make out any images. So it's all about feeling, warmth, vibration. Sounds equal the vibration that they feel and hear and get in touch with. All right, now you're going to have to keep all these in a space that you can put them all together later on. So that's with feelings. So the child is just starting to move, crying, maybe not. They don't smack them all the time anymore to make them cry. They're picking up the warmth from the mother. But now, here's the most dangerous part of a child coming into this world. What if a mother's a drinker, doing drugs, an angry person, negative person, evil person, whatever words you want to use? The first thing a child perceives in this world is that. And the child learns to accept that. Because now it's going to be with its mother, hopefully, for years. No matter what level she's at in her spiritual awareness, if there is any, or her connection to soul. But the child is in connection with that. So, and that's why they always say, don't drink when you get pregnant, don't do this. There are many reasons, and that is one of them. But most people don't stop. Even sex before it's born and all those things all have a way to interfere with the energy that the child's going to perceive. Now, if a person's going through a relationship problem when they're having a child, which some people are, having problems with their boyfriend or their girlfriend, and they're not married, all that energy is going into a brand new child coming into this world. That's not brand new for the soul, because soul reincarnates over and over. But soul doesn't bring that awareness with it, and it starts all over. 99%, Sure, some are coming in with awareness, but not most. All right. Now, the next thing is sound, where you bring your child where you live, and then guess what? They hear their father's voice. Good, better, and different. How loving they are, compassion, how they live, what they do, all those things. That energy is now going to affect the child as well. All right, now this child's in this house with two different energies, male and female. I'm not going to get into that male, male, female, female, three females, three males, whatever. Not right this second. A parent can lie, cheat, be abusive, and the child's going to feel and go through those feelings. Everything vibrates at a certain particular vibration when you're negative, when you're happy, and those vibrations vibrate through the child. Especially now you're holding a child all the time, you're next to the child all the time. All right. I mean, I'm not even going to get into when you bring in a babysitter or people, your family, your uncles, your cousins. And that's when more negative energy really affects and attacks children. And the older they get, the more that'll affect and hurt them. And we'll get into that later. So now this child's hearing a person's voice, his mother and father. If they're caring, which some people try to be or pretend they are. Most men are not the same as women, and women are not the same as men, and they'll never be the same. And a child needs both of those different vibrations to be in balance. I don't care what anybody says. They're lying. They have no clue to what goes on with the little soul that's in that body right now. All right. The whole mix, I'm going to go through everything, including what happens after reincarnation, why they're coming into this world again. And they're being reincarnated into your family's child. And that's depending on your karma. That's a whole different ball game. Everybody thinks they have the right to come back and be whatever they want. No, you don't. No soul does. Unless you're appointed by God itself. And there's not too many souls that are or ever were. So now we're talking about one other thing I'm going to throw in right away, because you have to understand that it is real and it really affects children. Aliens are being born into this world. They're reincarnating into human bodies. All right. I mean, people say they were walking, they're this, they're that, they're connected. Yeah, they are. They're very little aware of what's going on in this reality. They didn't have many lifetimes or any lifetimes of being a human. So yes, it's going to be very hard for that child. I was an alien one of my lifetimes, not my last one, a long time ago. So it's not like it affected who and what I am in this lifetime. All right. I mean, people say, well, I give my stuff I made deals with aliens in my last life. No, you don't. That's ridiculous. You make your own connection to God or spirit, and your karma determines what will happen with that. So please tell your friends, tell your family, anybody you know to listen to this somewhere in the future, because I'm telling you, I don't think you can hear this from anybody else. I don't think they have the awareness to go through what I went through and to understand this at any great level. I'm going to go into personal things as well, so you can perceive how I went through certain things to understand them. All right. The word that I talked to somebody recently was called demon babies. That's when an alien comes into a baby. What if it was a reptilian? What if it was an Anunnaki? What if it was any particular race? A gray even. What are they? How do they understand love? The vibrations. It's a different vibration for them. Considering they don't have feelings and emotions like we do. They have very little. So keep that in mind. There's many things I'm going to bring into this, demons and all that stuff. But you're going to have to realize it's, excuse me, it's all real. It is all affecting us. All right. So this is going to be not easy to listen to. When you hear the truth, you don't want to hear it. Well, I don't want to know. I don't want to. Right. You don't want to know. All right. So let's move on from the idea of aliens, their vibration. All right. So here's the next thing. When we're born, we start to see, and then we start seeing images. Now, what you allow your child to see, I mean, if you're watching TV and they're there and you don't think they can see it or feel it, they get the emotions and feelings from that, from a TV, from a radio. You listen to hardcore punk music, the child's feeling that. You listen to puke music, the child's hearing that too. So everything you're doing is abuse or not abuse to your child. Most people can't even perceive that. Well, he can't hear me. He can't see what we're doing. And you're a prostitute and you have a child and you're bringing men in or whatever. The child is experiencing that at a different level than you're aware of, but they are experiencing it. And that's why I'm going to keep saying it. Where do you think we're going with our world? Why do you think the children are becoming horrible, perverted, twisted mass killers and rapists? You got to think there's a reason. It's not because, no, there are direct reasons. Computer games also increase that as a child gets older. All right. Children are becoming programmed at that point already by the sounds and the vibrations they're being put into. Their actual vibration was high. When a child's born, their vibration is incredibly high. And that is why when ceremonies and sacrifices, they always take a child because their energy is so high. And I don't want to get into the abusive part and things, but when you sacrifice a child, it's abuse to the child, obviously. But it's a horrible thing. I mean, we're going to get into big family abuse, friend abuse, and all that. All right. Now, when a child's forming love, the perception of what mankind or woman give the child, well, I love you. When a mother says to a child, I love you, what does it mean to a child? It's by the vibration that comes from the word. You could say, I really, really hate you. The child's not even going to know the difference and accept it. So words man creates do not relate to the vibration that soul perceives it. The same as aliens or anything else. An abusive mother or father, what's that mean? Grandparents, grandmother, grandfather are usually different. They will give everything to be with their granddaughter, grandchild. They will give them as much love as they think they can, to the point of overextending themselves to the max to a child. All right. I can say the same with parents. When the mother goes overboard, when the father goes overboard. Money doesn't help a child. Buying a child's love does not work. It will never work. It may feel like that and may be like that, and you might live and die within the belief of that, but it's not real. All right. I had a super abusive father, and I had many sexual abuse attacks on me as well, all through childhood. They followed me into my later life, all through my work as well. But I don't want to dive into that right now. Children become weaker or stronger by a sexual abuse. Most children become weaker. Women, girls become weaker as they get older. Men, a lot of men become weaker, whether you believe it or not. Some can move forward, which I learned to do. You just can't go backwards, especially if you're here and you figure out what you're really here for, which we'll get into. But here's the thing. In most cases, when a girl gets abused, it builds. It doesn't like, well, this is what it is. No. The more they start hearing the percepted ideas of what love is, it affects them completely. Most women start overeating, pulling away from society. Then others become perverted and twisted. I'll get into that as well, meaning sexual problems and things like that as well, like horrible relationships, and they get into that. All right, here, love is multi-level, and it's whatever level you perceive to get into it or try to understand it at. All right, creating false love. Now, children, when they're in this sphere zone, frustrated, unaware state, they create, from their conditioning of what love is, a false place of love. Whether it's a doll, a family member, a person on TV, anything where they can feel and assume they're getting love from it. Why do you think a child's attached to their dolls most of their childhood? Because of the abuse in their family already, and they need something to hold on to. And obviously not going to get it from their mother and father if it's an abusive situation, which most are. Oh, I'm really good to get you. Do parents have any clue what spiritual means? Can they teach their child anything spiritual when they're little? No, they cannot. And I challenge anybody in the UFO world, because they're all on drugs. I mean, they have no clue to what's really going on. And they want to talk about aliens made us, created us, work with us. No, that's all fantasized, delusional lies. And until they learn God, they will stay in what I call, excuse me, what I call the Matrix. And if you watch the movie The Matrix, you'll understand what the Matrix is. And that's where you'll stay, because you are unaware. If you're put in a box and told you're in heaven, and then somebody feeds you inside your box, you're going to believe you're in heaven. You don't know what heaven is. You're programmed to believe what you are in. All right. So a child's creating false love, and they hide within that. And usually it's 90% of the time, it's an abusive sexual relationship. I mean, then drugs and drinking come into the picture. And then that energy affects the child constantly. I mean, even if you don't fight, you go out to a bar, get drunk, come home, you're bringing in the worst energy that you can possibly into your house that your child's going to feel. Oh, he can't see. He doesn't know what he or she can feel it. It's negative. It's your aura. If you could look at auras, which if I can get a couple seconds into that later, I will. If you can see a person's aura, you can see what they're doing, period. And then lastly, if you're sexual, I don't know what kind of words, just you're oversexed and you got to cheat and all those kind of things, it affects your children when they feel your energy when you come home. You're lying. And they perceive that. And it becomes part of their programmed awareness. All right, change it real fast. Please follow me. I go around in circles. It's just me. I had a lot of different things in my childhood, and I never got out of them. I see things backwards. All things focus in a circle. But I went to a sex club. I joined it because I was living in a millionaire family that made me join it. They just said, well, you got to come to a meeting. I went to the meeting. Oh, sign this paper, sign it. And I became a member of the club. It was a sex club. Everything goes on in this sex club. Every sexual act you could imagine. There's no drinking or drugs allowed inside, but every sexual act is going on. Different times, it's different things. I mean, one day a week, it's dancing nude or not. One is just beating. One is learning how to use tools and toys for sexual pleasure. I mean, it's an open club. It's legal. And it's crowded. And a lot of the people are rich people there. All right. The problem is I got to interview as many people as I could. And it's hard to be in a club and say, excuse me, come and try to get into their childhood. But I did. I got everybody I talked to back to their childhood, and they all said they were sexually abused. See, they don't, when they grow older and they say, okay, it happened to me, they don't look at it as good or bad. It's what happened. Now they added that into their life. The sexual pleasure is over exaggerated, meaning they need sexual abuse in being tied up, beat, whipped, and electrocuted, peed on, and all those kind of things. It's all part of it, and it's all going on. But it's accepted because they already have been programmed to accept a sick situation. Please, if you're trying to be happy and be loving and compassionate and listen to this, please, you're in the wrong place. I'm going into the deepest part of what love really is and what it really isn't. All right. And I hope you can follow, because you're not going to hear this by people out there, because they think they're in love. They think they have it all, and every other stupid excuse that they can come up with. All right. I dealt with a few people in my life. I had six people, 6 real girlfriends, three are married. I mean, two of my girlfriends were one was a multimillionaire and one was a billionaire. So yeah, I went through that, but I'm going to try to bring that into what the difference with that is versus being in a poor family, trying to make friends with them. I mean, these shows on TV. I mean, we'll get into it, but let me try to get through a couple things at a time. So in my life, out of the sexual abuse, I always stayed outside of it. I didn't pour it into myself. All right. But they carry serious problems, like dealing with my father, dealing with my mother, and she started drinking. I mean, those two things are pretty hard for a child to deal with. And my father was cheating on my mother all the time, making me go to my make-believe aunt, playing with her, my make-believe cousins. All those things affect our thinking in a different way, and we start to accept it. But luckily, my father left when I was 12, so it changed everything. Now, the word love, I love you. Your father's leaving, your mother's leaving. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you too. We use the word for a lot of things. Oh, I love my cat. But then you say, oh, I love my car. I love my beer. Oh, I love my ice cream. So you're using a word, a 4-letter word, that has all these meanings, and we put the vibration into it when we say it to what we're saying it to. Well, when you say, I love your tree, is it any different than saying, I love my partner? Can a tree perceive it? If it does, what does it do with it? Now, spiritual people, quote, thinking they're spiritual, believe they do. Oh, we talk to trees. You sit next to a tree, you can get vibration and energy from it. It's rooted into the ground. It pulls up energy. But when you say, I love it, oh, science proves that when you say to plants, I love you, they grow better. Well, if you care about a plant, like give it water and give it light, it's going to grow. You can say 1,000 times a day, I love you, or once a day, and I love you. Think the tree's going to grow faster, or the flower is going to grow faster? I will tell you what makes a plant grow is magnetic energy. And I did those experiments when I was a little child. If you put a magnet above something, it'll grow 10 times faster. But we're living on a giant magnet, which pulls our energy down. And it has to do with vibration, and love becomes part of that vibration. So what's the difference? Now, a person is alive and a car is not. So I love a person and I love a car. What is that love of a car? Well, I like to drive it. I like that. And what about you? The person that you love. What about the person? What about that person do you love? Well, I love having sex. I love when she touches me. I love going out with her. I love this. And you can come up with scenarios. But what does that really mean to the perception or the programmed idea of what love is? Giving your all, giving everything you have to the person you love. How many people can do that? And I can tell you, very few people can do that in any relationship. Now, I'm going to skip a little bit, but in any relationship, real fast, 2 people that are in love need to talk their life out before they create a marriage and children. They need to agree on a scenario, what's going to happen. Second of all, they have to be committed to the other, 100%, both parties, not one. I mean, it can't be 100% one and 10% the other, or 100% one and 20% the other, or even 50-50 does not work. That means 50% of the time, you're not going to be happy. And that'll destroy a relationship, and that's why relationships are crashing. You have to make that commitment when you start a commitment. Love can grow, but it has to have a place to grow. Throw a seed on a concrete ground and let the sun heat it up and destroy it. It's not going to grow. It needs all the things. It needs dirt. It needs water. And it needs light. So when you talk about a relationship, you have to put those into it. They don't just magically say go there because you say, I love you. Love is twisted. Unconditional love is another lie, which we're not going to get into. That's a whole story. Giving love to people that are dying and starving and everything else does not help them. It never did. Well, if the whole world's never going to love one thing or anybody, and to become part of that is even more perverted and twisted idea. All right. Now, I love to please my God. Do you know God? Do you know what God is? Do you have a clue what God is? The perception that 2.4 billion people have of God is Jesus. Muslims have their perception of a God. All right. The Jewish people have a perception of their God. And I will tell you this, I will stand toe to toe anywhere, anytime against any one of those people and say, what do you know about a real God? Now, deities is another word. Deities are the little gods God created. Out of the love for the lower realms, it created these gods to help keep us focused and locked into where we need to stay until we're ready to move on. Nobody talks about that. Even Buddhism doesn't even talk about that. Buddha brings you to the bliss state, the oneness and all that. And people believe the oneness is really important. Being one with everything, why? The sickness, the disease, the perversion. Where's the good in the oneness? There is none. Not in the physical world. So I will give you the definition of planet Earth. It's a 3-letter word, H-E-L-L. You can say, oh no, this is heaven. No, it is not. If you live in heaven and you're seeing people getting raped, abused, killed, murdered, slaughtered, abused, you're in a sick place that you want to call heaven. So we're going to keep moving on. Love of God is so important, but it's so not real to most people. If you don't know God, how can you love it? Because the Bible says so? Because a book says so? Your mother says, oh, love God? No, it doesn't work that way. The same as Jesus couldn't teach love. You can't teach somebody love. They have to experience it, and they have to be working with it to understand it. Now, why do you fall in love with somebody? And for men, 90% of the time, it's a sexual, oh, I love their eyes, I love their body, it stimulates their thinking. They're not in touch with the vibration. They have their eyes closed and they feel this vibration come towards them. Very few people are at that level. I could feel his energy a block away, and as I got closer to him, I knew it was the person that I love. I mean, things like that. It's not common. It should be. It was in Atlantis. All right. Now, when we talk about animals, we love our animals. Why? And a lot of people say they love their dog better than people. And you know why? Because that dog's always giving back to the person that's their master. Always. It doesn't ever choose not to. Even when it's getting hit, beat, and poor dogs have to deal with it. And they don't know different. They know that person's going to feed them, hopefully, and do all the other things. So, yeah, they forget easily. So, yeah, it's one way to win a heart of a dog, but they win your heart because they're always there. And a lot of them will give their own lives to protect you. But do you know this? Most dogs, when they're starving, will eat their owner if the person died. I mean, it's gross, but you have to look at the scenarios that we base love on. Well, the dog loves us. If I love my partner and I was starving to death, would I eat my partner? You remember the story of the plane that crashed in the mountain in the snow? After 3 or 4 days, they were all starving. They were burning their clothes, money, and everything to try to keep warm. But they were starving. And 2 people died, and then they ended up eating those people. And it actually went to court when they came back and everything. But, scenarios are scenarios. I can make 100 scenarios, and they're going to prove this or right. You use one to help prove whatever point you're trying to make. But we have to look at what's important to soul, what you are. What's important to a child. All right. Love is the most important thing, and most people will agree on that. Love of what? I love my child. I love my car. I love God. They all sound good. I mean, a child connects to their mother if they're nursing them for maybe 2 years. Some people do it for longer. I saw cases where a mother nursed a child until they were 4. Do you think that affects the love of the children? Of course it does. Every little thing that a woman does to their child affects them. Men usually don't have that much effect on a child because they're usually never there. I mean, if the mother dies or something, yeah, then the father's there, and they become a different kind of a person. All these things are helping create the synthetic idea of what love is to a child or a young adult. And they're already changing. Their body starts changing. The emotion starts growing. And then what does a parent teach them? Parents are even afraid to teach their children about sex. Never mind spiritual. I mean, when you go out, don't talk about God, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. What are you supposed to talk about? The weather. Let's just talk about the weather. You want to talk about the weather? You don't want the truth about the weather either. Men and women are living in a delusional state, not ready to face anything. And and to throw it in, they really expect the aliens to come down and help us. I know they always helped us. They never helped us. Man has never changed in 20,000 years. Ignorant people. You can believe and twist everything, but we were the same then. 2 arms, 2 legs, 5 fingers on each hand, a tongue, 32 teeth, whatever it is, 2 eyes. So the brain is still the same as a dolphin's brain. And you try to figure that one out. All right. You know, in a marriage, in a relationship, you know how parents and people actually win their hearts of their partner? Here's 3 things. Well, 2 things at least. I say toys and games. If your husband likes sports, you get him toys to play with. But you know, they always say a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. If a person cooks well, you don't think they're going to win a man over? Or if a man cooks well, you don't think they're going to win a woman over? See, you know, and is that love? Or I love to cook for you. Love. You put love in everything to make it be something better than what it is. Now, I'm throwing this out, we can get into it later, but the 10 Commandments never use the word love. Why? It didn't exist. When did it actually become a really important word? No alien ever made it important. No deity ever made it important. Sex was always important. Sexual energy was always important, not the word love. And you think when you form sexual energy and create Kundalini energy or whatever, Kama Sutra energy, you're in love with God? You think God cares about your sexual stimulation? Oh, your body is vibrating and jumping up and down? Do a drug. You'll be in the same space as well. Does that make you spiritual? Does it connect you to God? Does it teach you anything about God? Of course not. But religions and all kinds of paths use it as the power. The Muslims use sex and the perversions of it in their teachings, in their religion, in the way they abuse their women. And people want to accept that. Well, Jesus said you live by the laws that are in your area. But if they're not right, you change them. But we already gave up our right to change anything. Whenever we the only way we can change the government is forming a militia. If you form a militia, you become a terrorist group in the United States now. So is there love going on between government and people? Of course not. In the workplace, is there love going between your boss and the person? I'm not saying that in the closets and stuff like that, but is there a love for the people that work for them? You know how things change when there's love in a situation, no matter what it is? You wouldn't be killing pigs and all the animals the way you do. They slaughter them, they hurt them, they butcher them, they torture them before they kill them. That's not love in your being. If you could do that to anything, means you are not aware. Now, there's words out there that are really sickening. Check out the word shocking, like the fish in the ocean, then catfishing. There are things that men do that are harmful. Women do it too, but it's perverted, twisted. Some countries, shocking is like not even against the law. It's always like the woman asked for it or whatever the stories are. But in the dating world with computers, the abuse because they can't see you. I love you. I love you. Love doesn't go over the phone. You can't say I love you because you're on the other side of a computer. Well, we talked for 4 years, and when they meet, what? They don't even like each other. They don't even know what they look like. Some people. You have to look at how far love came away from what it truly means at any level. I mean, watch 90 Day Romance. Watch Love After Lockup. Woman in Prison Looking for Love. I mean, check those movies out. And it's real things going on. Now, The Bachelorette just ended last week. And it's a horrible show if children get to watch it. I don't care how old your daughter is, she should never watch that show. Because I don't want to get into it. If you watch it, you would understand why I said that. I mean, this girl's supposed to go through 30 men, 25 men to pick one that she wants to love and marry. But how about having sex with half of them before she makes that decision? Do you want a woman like that? Or would you want a man like that? I remember the man that went with like 6 women in it. I mean, men will say, if the shoe fits, you got to check it out, make sure the shoe fits first. It's a perversion. Love comes from inside, not the outside. If you're into sex, stay in sex, but don't try to make it love. You can be in love and make love, but if you're having sex, it's not anything to do with love. And it doesn't bring you closer to God, no matter what you do, no matter how high you think your energy is floating up into space. The things they do are evil, immoral. And like in the United States, you know, half of the United States, it was illegal to have 69 in bed. How would people prove it? Why would people admit to it if you were going to go to jail if you did it? I don't know how far they ever went with that law. It was taken away, believe it or not. I might be in one or two states, but again, it was a law. I mean, sex with animals, and that's not legal, but it's still out there. I mean, in Puerto Rico, I know men have sex with pigs and farmers have sex with cows and sheep. I mean, it's been there. Is that love? And could that person be a loving person? So, you know, love has deteriorated, replaced with no morals, a synthetic idea of love, which allows you to do whatever you want. Well, I want 3 wives. I want to have 100 children. I want this. I want that. I want to do this. Well, I don't want to be married no more. Well, that's not love. When you make a vow, there's boundaries, which is respect. If you respect somebody and you make a vow to them, you should be totally fulfillment to that vow that you gave that person. Are people doing that today? I went through it. I understand the good and bad sides of it all. But I'll tell you this, my relationships, I never left my partner. My partner left me. I mean, my first wife, it was hard. It was really hard. How we got together, why we stayed together. I mean, even when she became pregnant, her mother said she was going to put her in jail. Me in jail, not her, sorry. But when you're in love, and you think you're in love, because that's what you were programmed to believe, you do almost anything. And that's where also love takes another step, good or bad. When you're in love with your wife, you go to work and come home and she's in bed with somebody else. Are you in love with that person when you walk in that door? When you kill the partner, when you kill your wife, are you in love with them? See, there was laws on the books where men used to be able to go and do that, where women couldn't. They said women's too not emotional with things like that, and they don't do it when men lose their control and go into this temporary insanity. It was an excuse. Men protect men. Always did, always will. And I'll tell you, my perception of that, it came out of the idea of the Adam and Eve. Another fake, twisted story. Man thinks that woman came out of his rib. So that means he's better because he was here first, which is another lie. God was never male or female, so there was never a first in that idea even. And the whole conception is twisted. They were created together. But here's the thing. Man still believes the most important thing in their mind, and I don't care what anybody says, is sexual stimulation. Whether it's through their eyes, sound, feelings, whatever. And that's why every commercial has to have something sexual in it. No matter what product they're selling, jeans, shoes, bras, whatever they're selling, it has to be a sexual perversion inside it. Not a perversion, but a stimulation that will get a man to listen. All right. Now, here's the thing. I had 3 marriages in my life. I had 6 girlfriends. 2 marriages were long, really long. One was 10 and one was 20. So most of my relationships outside of that only lasted about a year and a half to 2 years, whatever, somewhere around there. I did not date many women. I had many women trying to date me, which I did not do. Well, what? I mean, I always wanted to be with a woman, but I wanted to be with a woman I loved. Well, how about you date people? No, dating people, you have to find somebody that you really feel that you want to date in the first place. Like blind dating, they have a TV show and things like that as well. Well, maybe you'll get along for a while. Maybe you'll like each other. But even on Bachelorette, the one guy, one of the 3 guys on the end, they actually admitted how many times they had sex and stuff and things like that. And how do you think he feels when she left him? To go with the worst guy because he was already had a girlfriend. It's just a horrible scenario. People twist it. Oh, I'm falling in love with you. You're falling in love with your brain, your ego, not your heart, not soul. I never dealt with dreams. Like everybody says, well, I always daydream when I'm having sex or I create. I mean, they're not happy. Again, they should have worked that out. Well, something happened later on. Well, when somebody gets sick, most people leave because they don't want to deal with that kind of stress. But when you sign up for love in a relationship, it's a commitment. It's because you truly love them. Not it's because you truly love them because they can have sex and go running and jumping up mountains with you. Now that they're laying in bed, well, she's totally useless. I can get into that, but I'm not going to go into that too deep. But daydreaming, I mean, in your dreams at night, how many sexual dreams do you have in a week or a month? Do you remember your dreams? They're effective of how love affects you as well. I was always committed to my relationships until it ended, period. My partners all admitted it was their fault for it ending. They needed to do this and they needed that. Well, you know, all I can do is I gave as much as I could, which is I call 100%. All right. I was with my first girlfriend for 9.5 years. I guess I met her when I was 16. All right, I just want to take you back just to show you who I am. I had a girlfriend when I was 6 till I was 16. I saw her 2 weeks a year on my summer vacation. Never had sex with her, but thought about her most of the year until I got to see her again the next year. And it lasted all my childhood. And when I turned 16, they moved and I never heard from her again, never saw her, never was able to find her. But during the time I gave her a ring and all kinds of things when I saw her, talked to her on the phone a couple of times and things like that. But she was in another part of the state. I couldn't drive and things like that. So it was hard, but I was always committed to it. So, but when I turned 16, I really wanted a relationship. And I met my first wife. I was joining the Army because I couldn't stand my family life. And I decided I was going to take boxing, which I was already doing. I could take electronics, and they were going to put me in electronics school. And then I met my first wife. At that point, they found out that I had ulcers really bad, and they didn't want me. And I got out. Even though my number was like 320, I mean, they only pick on the lottery. It was the lottery when I was 17. Up until 50, they only picked the first 50. I mean, if they ever went to 300, it would be half of the United States would have been in the Army. But my brother was in. So what I'm trying to get to is when I when I go into a relationship, I talk it out. I said, what do you like? What do you want to do in life? What do you want to have? I mean, you have to make all those things fit together. If they don't, they're going to pull you apart. Well, say, I don't care. That means you don't care about love. Well, let them do what they want. No, that person has to understand your feelings, and you have to understand their feelings. If you're going out, hanging out with your buddies, drinking and smoking, that's harmful to a relationship. It's harmful to your children. All these little things when they say, oh, I'm in love with my wife. You're not. Nobody's really close to the point of loving 100% their wife, partner, child, and things like that. Understand what they should be doing or could be doing or can do. And that's a perversion. It's a real sick perversion of the truth. All right. Now, when I was with my first girlfriend, I moved into her mother's house. Her mother hated me. She hated me for a long time. Until we got married, she did. She hated me. And then when we split up, she hated me again. So did the mother ever love me? No. I mean, so and one other thing I'll throw in real fast. If you marry somebody, you don't marry the family. You don't. If you do, you're marrying people that don't love you. Period. You're marrying and you're going to pretend you love people and be with them and all that. It's not where you need to be. This is about, you're here for one reason, which we'll get into. Soul is here for one reason. Not to change the world, to make it better. You're in hell. You don't go into hell to make it better. You go into it to get out of it. But you start there. You got to start somewhere. You start at the bottom, and then you work your way up. So you're going to be in hell, and you have to get out. You're not going to go in. The idea that you're going to go to hell, no. This is the worst it's ever going to be for soul, because soul has to watch it, feel it, and see it. People getting run over, killed, murdered, people beating them up, all those things. That's heaven? No, it is not. Is it where God wants you to stay? No, it is not. So the concept we can live longer, get rid of disease. Disease is for a reason. The diseases that are real. Man made a lot of diseases, and they keep making more and more. They're poisoning everything you eat. So basically, the people in power are trying to kill most people. That's a whole nother game too. But it has nothing to do with love, no matter what. Oh, I love my people. No, you don't. You don't care about people. Well, here's the thing. I was with my first girlfriend. For 2 years, I saw her every single day, and I made sure that no matter what went down, I still saw her that day until I moved in. It was hard. I mean, hitching at nighttime and all kinds of things, but I did it. But a commitment should be to God, not to man. Man doesn't care. Women don't care, really. God does. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What are you doing it for? Well, people say, well, nobody knows those. Their answers are real simple. They're too simple. That's why most people don't want to hear them or know them. If you get married, it's a commitment. If you can't keep a commitment, you're a liar. In the Bible, in Revelations, it says what sins can't be forgiven. Well, I don't believe in the Bible. You believe in nothing. You don't have morals. You believe in God? Most people don't believe in God anymore. Not a real God, a synthetic energy that we all are part of. Really? And that's obviously why the world's so pathetic. That's why alien races are pathetic. Alien races have less spiritual awareness than most people on this planet do, just so you know. They don't have feelings and emotions, so how are they going to ever understand any aspect of a God? I'm talking about the deities, never mind the true God. All right. So I did a lot of traveling in the inner worlds. I went through the astral plane, which is only like a little offshoot of this realm. It's still, I would call it close to hell, but it's not. You can't kill somebody there. So, I mean, it's a lot different here because you kill somebody here, you're here for a lot longer time. You could throw energy at people on the astral plane and things like that, but you can't kill them. All right. When I was going to my relationship and it was ending, I was ready to kill her boyfriend. I didn't care about God, spirit. I said, no, my life was taken away from me. Love, when you're connected to somebody, controls the emotions, and the emotions are controlled by the mind. And love separates from that when the mind gets angry. They're two separate entities, and they try to work together, which they really don't. But I told my wife at that time, if I ever saw him again, I'd kill him. I tried to, and he ran away. But here's the thing. Every experience that I had opened my eyes to more and more about the truth of what was really going on. If somebody loves you, they're not going to be leaving you to go with somebody else. So obviously, well, I loved you, but not no more. Oh, I still love you, but all those words, an excuse. I mean, people need, and here's the thing, I'll use this word, to set a love meter. How much love are you willing to give? If it doesn't go to the other side of the meter, it's not enough. How much can you give to a person? They can take as much as you throw at them. Now, here's one other little thing. We use words. Words have nothing to do with feelings and emotions. I know there was a Hindu person that put the F word, and he used it in, I think, 100 different ways to use the F word. And when he used it in that sentence, it really fit into that sentence. As good energy, bad energy, happy energy, negative energy. I mean, all the different words for it as well. But when we use the word love, it doesn't fit what it vibrates at or what it can vibrate at. You either love somebody or you don't. You can pretend to love someone, which many people do. You can pretend a relationship and create a fake love within that. Well, they got a lot of money. I could be happy. Women marry men because they got money a lot of times, not because they're sexually happy or they're in love with that person for major reasons. And why do they break up? Why do rich people break up? It's not over money, is it? After they break up, then it's over who has the most money and who wants it. Yeah. But when two rich people marry and then they break up, why are they breaking up? Because they don't have love. And the other word that's in the Ten Commandments is respect. You respect somebody, you don't lie to them. You got to give them enough respect to give them their truth and your truth. And that should be worked out before you get married, not after. Now, most people don't understand anything about the Ten Commandments. All right? They're not God's laws, which people say, oh, I don't follow laws. They're outdated. The Ten Commandments are laws to live life, not to love God. I mean, it says, thou shalt have no other God, but it's not about loving God. They don't use the word love there, ever in the Ten Commandments. But the Ten Commandments are respect people, respect your family, respect your neighbors. Is that wrong? So when you say, I don't believe in the Bible, if you don't believe in the Ten Commandments, you don't believe in morals. Well, I can do what I want. Yeah, you can go kill somebody, beat somebody up, or have sex with 10 people, whatever you want. Because you don't have morals. Morals relate to love, what love can bring. I mean, I can go into detail about the Ten Commandments. I will do that one day, but not right now. What they really mean, because realize it was written by Moses, and it was only parts of what the actual definition was. When they say honor and respect their mother and father, the mother and father has to honor and respect their child as well. All right, it's a two-way deal. Well, I want you to respect me, but I'm going to beat your butt out and whatever. No, it's a two-way deal. Everything's a two-way deal. Always has been. Just that man has never perceived it in any important way and related it to love. You can't love people and sacrifice a child. So the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians were mass killers. The Spanish and the British slaughtered 50 million native people. And they call them the United States people? They think they own the United States? They think they have the right to make the laws over the native people? The Constitution of the United States came from the native people, if you're pretty unaware of the truth, but it did. Love has never been a part of anything. The laws go outside of love. And man creates the false ideas of what love means. True love never dies. Never. In your lifetimes, when you become aware, you'll remember your lives. So what I tell people, when you die, who do you want to be with? Oh, my mother, my grandfather, my wife. I said, what if you get married twice in this lifetime? Who do you think you're going to be with if you believe that story? Who are you going to be with when you're in heaven? Which wife? Oh, you're going to make them all love each other? And then what are you going to do? Sit there and talk? It's a delusional idea, programmed, and man has accepted it. It's a lie, complete lie. Soul reincarnates most of the time, unless the soul's aware. And if the soul's aware, they're not going to be hung up on people that are here. They're going to realize what their mission as soul is, and it's not to save the world. So here's the thing. I know people have a concept of love and and this, that. No, you don't. You have a perverted, twisted, programmed idea of what love is. When a person leaves you and you're in love with that person, not dying, they're not dying, they're just leaving you, like to go with somebody else. There's a piece of you that's going to be taken away. I don't know what to call it. It's a piece of your heart, and the heart's a body part. Soul doesn't have a heart. It's a spirit body, so it doesn't have a brain and the veins and all the blood and all that. So it's a lot different. But I can go into my story of what I came in this world to do and learn, and which I did. But it's going to take a little too much time right now, and I'm going pretty far, getting as much as I can out right now. I'm not talking about dying. So when a person leaves you, male or female, it's another piece of your heart that's being taken away. Your heart only has so many pieces before it's broke. Or find the right person and put it all back together. No. If you truly love somebody and you created that bound with them, it'll never be replaced. You'll try to replace it. You'll put things in place of it, but it won't replace it. If you truly love a person, it will always be there. Not if you have 10 boyfriends or 10 girlfriends, it disappears. No, it doesn't. The same as sexual abuse leaves that kind of a piece of your heart taken away as well. So a sexually abused girl that's left by her boyfriend or boyfriends keeps breaking her heart to pieces. So you think she can understand love? How can she? There's no place to put it, no place to make it even grow. It's a sick world, and I call it hell. And if you believe here to have fun and be happy, are you on planet Earth? Are you watching planet Earth? Do you understand what's happened to the ocean, what's happened to the creatures, what's happened to children? Are you part of planet Earth, or you live in your little box? Most people live in a little box. It's easy. Well, I see 4 walls, a top, a ceiling, and a floor. I don't have to see anything else. And that's all you're going to see. But don't try to fit with love into that box either, because it won't fit. All right. You did not come here to learn about planet Earth. Another misconception by 99% of all UFO people and spiritual people. People want to believe in that so bad. A man is a lie to himself. A man is a lie to himself. On top of that, you have to figure out and say to yourself, what does spiritual truly mean? Well, I'm spiritual. I heal people. Heal people of what? Your ego overpowering their ego and telling them they're okay? You can't heal karma. Nobody else can heal your karma. No matter what they tell you, oh, you're all healed. I mean, like Oprah dealt with Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, and she thinks she's has no ego and she has no karma. Really? We're going to go into spiritualism, but I don't have time to do it today. But the idea of spiritual, what does it mean to you? You send unconditional to people that really aren't going to get anything from it? What's unconditional love? Sending love to a rock? Yeah, because a rock doesn't do anything with that. So the idea of loving everything. Why, you love your car? What's the car going to do with your love? Well, if I keep telling it to love me, I love it, it'll keep running. Really? Then what about children? How many children do you need to have to decide if you love children? And how much love can you give more than 2, 3, 4, 5, 10? It doesn't help the situation. Nobody's that gifted to give that much love and have that much time. Because if you have 6 children, they're all going to be going in different directions. I mean, it would be different if they all sat and ate the same thing, did the same thing, thought the same thing. The same thought you give back to them would affect all of them. But each one of them has their own perception and programmed ideas already. Because one child might have been programmed by his friends, one might have been programmed by just his family, and already their programmed ideas of what love is and what life is about is already different. But what soul needs to learn, soul, not the body, not the mind, may take anywhere from 100 to 1,000 lifetimes. And that's before you become aware. Or you make the decision to do it. And there's always the moment right now to make the decision, you're going to become aware. And please, these people aren't aware. Well, I know there's stars out there, there's planets. That has nothing to do with awareness. The physical reality, which I call the matrix, is very lame, caustic, very solid, dense, and there's nothing really positive vibrating around within it. When you let go of that, even in the astral plane, the vibration changes. But if you get beyond the astral plane, you're going to experience what love means. Not before. You're going to truly experience it because you're not going to be programmed by feelings and emotions, programmed ideas. Getting out of your body is one way to understand soul. And when you understand soul, it's a lot easier to perceive its connection to God. Without it, there is no connection. You can't perceive, and that's why you're going to say, I'm one with all things. It's an excuse cop-out because you don't know nothing. Well, nobody knows. Well, people that don't know nothing have to make everybody else know nothing. There's many souls, not many, there's some souls on planet Earth that know what soul is, where it goes, how it works, and all those kind of things. People don't listen. I know most people don't listen to me because they don't want the truth. Well, that's your truth. Because they don't have it and it's mine, and 7.2 billion other people don't have my opinion. Mine's wrong. Well, when Buddha came out, it was his opinion. When Jesus came out, it was his opinion. So it's how many people you get to believe. Jesus didn't get the world to believe in him. More believed in him later on by the programming that parents gave to their children. But they twisted his reality to the max. Then, for the health nuts out there, New Age people, I call them health nuts, but saying you are what you eat. Aliens are what they eat. Sharks are what they eat. Most fish are what they eat. Most creatures are what they eat. It affects their aura, their energy, what they smell and taste like, if you were going to eat them. So, are we aware what we do to pigs? Are we aware of what we do to other animals? I mean, Moses came up with 613 laws, a lot of them about what animals you could eat and couldn't eat. Obviously, man didn't like that idea too long. But dolphins have a human brain. And they feed dolphins. The fish is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mammal. Because the dolphin fish is worth a fortune. A dolphin is not worth at 1/10 as much money. So they feed dolphins to kids in school in Japan. They have whale restaurants. They eat mammals. These creatures give birth like we do. They nurse them and all those kind of things. Dolphins can be trained to do almost anything. They're smarter than a monkey by about 150%. A dolphin can learn 150 words. A monkey can only learn 50 words. I did research on that for years. And now it's even more outrageous because of what they do to them now, and they know what they are. Pigs are intelligent, but let's grow ears on them so we can have an ear. I mean, they're going to, and Japan, which is an ignorant, evil country, just okayed mixing humans with animals. Is that any connection to love? You love the human race, you love people, you love animals, so well, let's put them all together. We're all one consciousness. Well, that's the sickness it'll bring. And it did, and it's already started. So, and they're going to create body parts in animals so they can grow them and then take them. So if you love an animal and you create it, and then you're going to take its body parts just so they can have a body part. But how connected to God are you? Any connection there? You have sex, I have high sex, and that connects you to God? No, it doesn't. We have to realize, we don't have to, I do, I did. Hopefully in your lifetime, one of them, you can understand the truth. And it's not out there with the public speaking. The public that speak usually have great stories that have nothing to do with the truth. All the UFO stories pertain to space and what they might do, what they might have done, what they did do. No, they're not helping us. The ocean is contaminated. The air is, the water is, the ground is. Animals and fish and creatures are all dying. They're not helping us with that, are they? And what do? Give Tesla more inventions to help destroy the planet. Quantum physics is very dangerous, so is time travel. And so is an earthquake machine, and Tesla came out with all that. The race that he was working with gave him 200 inventions. The doomsday weapon. I mean, when he created the earthquake machine, he almost leveled the square block in New York City. So, are aliens in love with humans? Of course not. Do they care about us? Of course not. They care about what their agenda is and why they need planet Earth. Oh, well, aliens could destroy us if they wanted to. If they wanted to, yes, they could. But they don't. Do they want to teach us anything? No. Well, the word that they came up with in the UFO world is experiences. Sorry, I'm going a little bit different now, but experiences mean people that have delusional ideas and believe it. They wake up from bed and they were shown all this stuff. They were told all this stuff. So what? Does it have anything to do with helping mankind move forward spiritually? Nobody has done that. Anybody that tries to do that are usually killed. And I did 2 years of research on every spiritual person that existed in history that I can find. 80% of them were killed, and the other 10% were actually almost killed. They would get fed poison and things like that. And sure, a couple died of natural causes at about 80. In the Native Nation, it's usually like 100. But did they get any truth out to the real world? No. And now they're adapting the lies into their reality. Like, well, we work with Bigfoot. We work with the star beings. No alien race has ever helped the Native Nation. Ever. In the United States. So for a master, elder, medicine man come out and say, well, I work with the star beings. They don't even know what race it is. And then they talk about the giants. No, the Native people and the giants did not get along. We're lucky the humans killed the giants. I mean, even in the Bible story, the Book of Enoch. The whole race of giants were having sex with little people. Man's ego is so twisted. They got to feel big and all that. So imagine a giant, an 8-foot person going with a little person. It's out there. Most football players always have a little teeny girlfriend. You ever wonder why? But here's the thing. The human race has sold themselves out over and over. And I didn't even mention the devil and the demons that exist and work here, which are important. My time's getting kind of, I don't want to go on forever today. I want you to get something out of today and then at least try to remember it, which will be hard. Most people don't remember 10 minutes of anything they hear. Well, the human religions, there's 2,000. Now, in the beginning, there was one, Hinduism. And there was one before that, which was animalism, believing in animals as power and God, as a concept of a God. Then Hinduism came out with deities, and they started working with the deities. The deities were all sexual. Read any story, Shiva, Durga, Kali, all the deities that were there. It was sex and love, mostly sex. So how far did we move from that? We didn't. I'll tell you this. I'm aware of all my lives back to and past Atlantis. Atlantis love was accepted but never mentioned. You didn't say, I love you. The feelings of a person bombarded you. You sensed people. You could see how they feel, their emotions, how they wrapped around you and gave you light. And it was a totally different aspect. You didn't say, I love you, I love you. You didn't have to. You would know it or you knew it. They didn't. You couldn't lie. You didn't steal. We didn't kill. And then alien races came, including the Anunnaki. They didn't play with our DNA. DNA is not important. Soul is. Soul doesn't have DNA. And science will never think about that. Oh, well, DNA is useless. Yeah, it's okay to find a physical body, but to say what it is, oh, well, we got reptilian brain, and they say all those things. Well, we had a tail at one time. Some bodies were born with a tail. Well, there's freaks in nature every which way. But if a person was born with a tail, obviously something was wrong somewhere in the construction and the foundation of the belief system that created that person. But I want to go there. That's way out there. And deities and angels are really important as well. Deities, there's only a few important deities. I actually work with 3 different deities. All right. And it's incredible because they had nothing. They didn't teach me nothing about planet Earth. It wasn't about living here. You can live here 125 years and be gone, and then you're not going to remember, and you're going to come back and start all over. That's your life. Until you step out of that and find that your soul, and soul doesn't need to be attached to anything other than what it is. And you don't need to create homes and save starving people and all that. Save the birds, save ants, save caterpillars. I mean, no, it's not about that. And if that's your goal, you'll never get into the higher realms. Because when you start dealing with higher light, pure light beings, it is different. There's no male and female agenda, which is a perversion being twisted greatly at every level now. Poor little children. Well, I'm male and I'm an it. Everybody should just say it, not he or she. I always said, and I said this many years ago, everybody's a trisexual. And most people are a trisexual. It means they'll try anything. Anything to do with sex, they'll try it. But here's the thing. Children don't learn love from day one. So how are they going to form a beautiful relationship later on in life? Well, there's happy people. Happy is one thing, but being happy doesn't make you spiritual either. Well, I'm going to be doing a workshop real soon. I don't want to go too much further. I poured a lot on you today. I'm going to be doing a workshop, and it'll be all this stretched out in detail, and the things you need to do and the things that you have to be able to do and all those kind of things that no people know or understand. And it is what Jesus taught, period. And I defy anybody to go against that. I'm putting my life on the line. What I am giving you is the highest truth that I have experienced and perceived, dealing with three deities, multiple masses, angels, masses in the physical world as well, and facing God. All right. My life is dedicated to that, period. No lie, no story, no person is going to take me away from putting that there. I'm on my 4th book. I'll give you my first 2 books to read. And that was years ago. And obviously, you usually grow if you're aware. And not by people telling you anything, because you're not going to learn from people. Are you learning anything from me? I'm just giving you the foundation of where you think you are and why you're not there. It's up to you to rebuild it, recreate it, and put love into the picture for real. But what is it really going to be in your picture? Well, I'm going to fall in love with somebody. And if you do, you're going to make it real. So I'm not giving you complicated, delusional ideas. I'm not giving you some twisted aliens idea either. I will give you Jesus's ideas if you want. Moses was a sick black magician. Sorry, people. He killed people. What does the 10 Commandments say? What did he bring out? And what did he do? You have to walk your path if you're walking any kind of a path. Otherwise, you're not walking the path. So I hope you got something out of today. Do aliens love us? No, they don't. Do they love each other? No, they don't. So do men love men? Do women love women? Do we love animals? How does it all fit together? It doesn't. I mean, we all think it's together. We all think it fits. But there's so much abuse in every family, in the world, in nature. It's even out now because of man. So do we love the planet we walk on? No. And we expect somebody else to come here and save it? Delusional ideas, delusional programming. I didn't even talk about things that are important, like protection, out-of-body experiences, the things that'll help you become aware and not going into somebody's spaceship, not meeting with some alien being and him telling you this is what you did. That all doesn't matter. It's what you're going to do in the moment. And what are you preparing for when you leave this body? If you're completely unaware, yes, aliens can work and use you. It's like when you die. If you're working with demons, guess what? You got no hope to go somewhere positive, for a word. So with that, I had a lot more to give you, but that's okay. I think I gave you enough to think about for the day, for the rest of your life, to try to incorporate love into your life for real, instead of the delusional idea that you're in love and you're in oneness with the whole universe and everything. Like the universe cares what you do or what you don't do. And if everybody was in this one spot, what would be the next step? How about stepping out of it? Imagine a bunch of brains. You ever get in a room with 10,000 people? The energy becomes one. Whether it's good or bad, you're in a riot, however that energy is, it affects you all. The mind's a weak entity, and it pulls that energy in. Soul is separate. But create light in a room and have 1,000 people in there and allow them all to get filled with light. It becomes a totally different experience. I'm not saying they're going to keep it. The second they walk out that door, they're going to go right back to their thinking and thoughts and everything else that pulls them out of it again. So until one can learn there is a difference between mind and soul. I know Buddhism teaches it much different. My partner's a Buddhist, and it's so hard communicating with her. But, it doesn't matter, because a soul creates what they're going to do in their next life. I mean, if you want to come back and be with aliens, you want to come back and be with cavemen, what do you want to do when you come back? How far do you want to move forward? If you're coming back, you're not moving forward at all, no matter what you come back to. A space city? So what? Well, I want a space car. See, man, here's the last thought for men. Men, it's all about the toys you play with. Life is equal to the amount of toys that you can get. And usually the bigger and the more expensive it is, the happier you become. Pretty sad. Because usually it's a bigger car, bigger plane, bigger boat, bigger sexual part. Whatever it is, it's always bigger, making you feel bigger. And that's what ego is. And money builds ego as well. And for all the rich people out there, sorry, and anybody that's rich, this is for you. Jesus said it many times, and I heard him say it. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to go into heaven. And that's an actual fact. Because saying you're rich tells the world that you're ignorant. Saying you don't care about other people is just what you're actually saying. So, yeah, you need money to survive. But then again, well, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be next to poor people. I don't want to do this, and I don't want to feed them either. It just shows you don't care about people. But they're lessons for the physical world. They're not lessons for the next realm. You don't have to eat in the astral plane if you can make it and stay there. So with that, well, you know, I hope you got something out of today. Again, my email is hawksblood1@aol.com. All right. I put in a manual out, how to see a UFO. I'll give you the link. And all I'm asking is if you want to send me $1, put it on my PayPal. But if you follow the book, you will see UFO. If that's what you want. I get into spiritual stuff in the book as well. It's a PDF file. It's about 200 pages, and it's basically important if you want to see UFO. All right. But my first 2 books, How to See God, When Truth is Called Crazy, I will give them away to anybody that wants them. Just send me an email, hawksblood1@aol.com, HAWKSBLOOD1@aol.com. And at that point, I will send you ebook if you want. And if you want the other one, I'll send you the other one too. But I'm not doing anything to make money. I mean, sure, donations and things are cool because this month has been the worst month in the past 5 years for me as far as money, and it's only starting. But it's just like, when something happens, everything happens during that time frame. Well, that's the way life is. When you're down, it tries to keep you down. And when you're up, it tries to bring you down. That's what life is. That's why it's hell. Nothing's bringing people up. People are dying. More and more people are dying around us. People that we know, people that are really sick. People are all depressed, which is not a good word. Depression is sad because half of the world are committing suicide and everything else because of that. So please, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can make this bigger. I can't even see it. I see. I'm sorry. There was a few questions in there. Well, Jesus loves you. I know Jesus, and it's not about love. He cares to put the truth out, and I don't think his people even knew that because they helped kill him. Many of them did. I'm just reading some of the questions that I didn't get to read. Sorry, I wasn't looking in there. Samaria, I mean the giants and I mean the aliens. They have nothing to do with us. They're not going to help us. They're not going to help you attain spiritual awareness. They are not. So with that, everybody, text me if you got a question that I didn't answer. Please text me, hawksblood1@aol.com. I'm out of here now. I gave you what I could for the past hour. So with that, till next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you want, whatever you need in your life. Hope you get it. Hope you work for it. And hope it's what you want. For real. So with that, Kadisha, means may the light shine before you, in back of you, below you, above you, wherever you go. Till next time.